Oh, good.
Here
This
we
is
are.
great. I wonder if we're able to see any names pop on.
Maybe so.
Early Shabbat Shalom. It is our pleasure to bring you to us and us to you and gather friends and family and community to prepare and to get ready for Shabbos, as we always do together. So welcome. And hi, Barry.
Hi, Debbie. Getting ready for Shabbos.
We don't have a guest today, and we were pretty okay with that, even though our guests have been remarkable and phenomenal. We kind of thought about coming back together just in the kitchen. Hi, Mindy. Hi, Lolly. And just spending some time this Shabbos without having, one issue or another to talk about or draw upon. Kind of nothing like that. Just more of a casual, gathering, kind of the way that we started. Thank you for the Shabbat Shaloms. So,
Well, you're talking about gathering. I mean, what have we been doing this last week? Have we been hanging out in the what?
the sukkah.
The sukkah.
Yeah. It was really joyful to get to teach yoga in the Sukkot at Temple Emmanuel, and brought the device along, and just, the smells and the decorations and really the serenity of being in a sukkah, and of course we can get really, really a little deep here, but I think one reason why it's so peaceful to spend time in the sukkah is because you don't have these grand expectations of it. Not that it's not completely lovely in all that it is, handmade and nails and hammers and stringing paper chains and whatever you would like, but you don't have these expectations that it's never coming down, or it's always going to sustain you, or it's going to be 5-star, or whatever expectations they might be. And I think you get to just, and there's not that many things in life, if you think about it, that you get to work with this way, or you have this kind of an understanding that, it just actually is what it is. It's a place that is not forever, it's impermanent. And yet, it's still a place that can easily foster joy.
You're right, because there weren't that many Bronze Age Holiday Inns. This is just joy in the truest sense of just hanging around in a fragile environment, but looking around and saying, "This is nice. It's just peaceful." And that's what I love about it. I find peace hanging around with the Torah, in the sukkah.
I think so too. Hi, Leah. Shabbat Shalom. Hi, Catherine. Shabbat Shalom. All right. So for me, and the part that I wanted to bring to talk about and to think about today, it's funny. I see Catherine signing on right now, and she and I were discussing this. Of all places, on the pickleball court, we were in a pretty competitive game, not with one another. We were a team today, and we kept saying to ourselves, let's try to, maintain that joy while we have fun in our game. And we really did usher in a little Jewish perspective here. So it's fun to see her. Okay, so joy. That's the part that I really wanted to bring up and speak about. And as always, if you have thoughts or something and you want to chime in, we welcome that. This is just a very casual community gathering. So please do. So, what do? I look up joy because I kind of want to feel what God's perspective of joy might be. And, just to get personal, I work really hard, but I don't only work hard for what I do today. I've just always been that kind of hard worker person. And sometimes my challenge is in letting go of that and experiencing joy and calm. I really can get into the frenzy of preparation for Shabbat. You know this about me, right? I'm like, we need to do this. We have to run to the mailbox. We have to clean this last thing. But then it's in the laying back of it and the having the joy part that I need to say to myself, okay, so, is this something that God wants for us? Is this something that enhances our relationship with God and one another? So I do what I always do. I go to the sources and I look it up, and I wanted to share a couple of those with you. Okay, Pirkei Avot, chapter 6, verse 6. And this is on learning Torah, just so you'll know. By study, attentive listening, proper speech, by an understanding heart, by an intelligent heart, by awe, by fear, by humility, by joy, by attending to the sages, by critical give and take with friends. And that was on learning Torah. And if you can just imagine all those pieces, parts, and the very last line, by critical give and take with friends. Oh, I love that. Psalms 100, verse 2. Worship the Lord in gladness. Come into God's presence with shouts of joy. So we're being told, be joyous. And of course, that's really a big part of what Sukkot is all about, is bringing joy on purpose. You be joyful. All right, third thing. I did 4 of them today. Pirkei Avot, because I really want to convince you. Pirkei Avot, chapter 3, verse 12. Rabbi Yishmael says, be yielding to an elder, pleasant to a youth, and greet every person with joy. Okay, from the Talmud, Barakot 31a, 11. Rather, one should approach prayer from an atmosphere imbued with the joy of a mitzvah. Pretty lovely.
That says a lot, Debbie.
So my question to you, and my question to me, and my question to you, Barry, is, we've had this sukkah that basically has said, be joyful. Come eat out here. Look up through those cracks right here and see the stars. And be joyful. All kinds of ways, the food, the bounty, the abundance, everything, a little wine, whatever it all is, companionship. But do you get a little sad when it's over? And I have to admit that I do. And I have to admit that it has felt in the past 6 months that sometimes it's hard to be joyful. And I wrote down 2 words for myself. And I don't know if they're relatable or if you want to riff on this or whatever. But I have written down to myself, manufacture joy. Manufacture joy on purpose. Not just the hard work that gets the job done, not just those things, but really manufacture joy. And then this weird thing happens, right? Say, okay, I get that. How do you do that? Do you have a party? Do you, and then of course we have quarantine rules and regulations and things to keep us extra healthy. And, there's all kinds of guidelines. But guess what? This goes right back to Pirkei Avot, the first thing I read. How are we going to manufacture joy? By study, attentive listening, proper speech, by an understanding heart, by an intelligent heart, by awe, by fear, by humility, by joy, by attending to the sages, by critical give and take with friends.
I think it's really, I like what you said, manufacture joy.
Manufacture joy.
That's what we've been doing.
2 people I'm very close to have this saying. And they say, never pass up a happy occasion. No matter how busy we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So as we go forth from this beautiful festival of Sukkot, I am going to be saying to myself, with every opportunity I can find, Debbie Levy, manufacture joy. And of course, getting to see my names of dear people, and there's my friend Judy, that sure does help start us off. So that's some of my thoughts today.
Well, you're talking about joy and you're talking about Sukkah, and today we celebrate Shabbat, of course,
Right.
and that is a joyful day. But also today happens to be Shemini Atzeret. Well, Shemini Atzeret is the 8th day of Sukkot. No, it isn't. It just there's in Leviticus we're told to have 7 days of Sukkah, basically, and on the 8th day there shall be a great assembly. And assembly is what Atzeret means. So, and Shemini means 8, so it means 8th day of assembly. But the word Atzeret comes from the word Atzer, which means treasure, and which may mean precious, which basically says that God is what Judy Tashbrook just said on the screen. God wants us to stay one more day because He is so joyful of being around us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And so, of course, there's no, and Shemini Atzeret, there isn't really a etrog. There's no sukkah anymore, but we do add an extra prayer for rain because the harvest is over and now we need rain. And so the little prayer is called Geshem, and we add this prayer throughout from beginning today all the way to Passover. And it just begins with God causes the wind to blow and also for the rain to descend. And boom, we now end the fall festival holidays, except one more. There is one more, and it's Simchas Torah. And Simchas Torah was developed around 1000 CE by the rabbis, because it may have been by design or maybe on purpose, because we're ending the Torah anyways. And how great is that? We have finished reading the Torah. We should rejoice. But taking on what Debbie said, the whole holiday of Simchas Torah is for us to rejoice to our learning about Torah. How great is that? So what we do, we take the Torah scrolls up and we run around and we are so happy. And we do it's a hakafot. 7 times, sounds like a wedding. But so meanwhile we do that, and then we put the Torahs down, or we may hold them up, and we read the last passage of Deuteronomy, which is when Moses, is the death of Moses, and we miss him. And also God then buries Moses on the steppes of Moab. And we don't know where it is, but that's okay. And then do you remember this phrase? Be kind and rewind. Now we go all the way back to the beginning, and we say, in the beginning, or Bereshit, and that's the first passage of Bereshit. So for me, Debbie, it has been so joyful for these last 4 weeks to celebrate and learn more about Torah and also more about the fall festival holidays. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Yasher Koach. Very nice. Well, I'm not quite as you are about it, because I've been getting ready. You know, you and I mean, you probably don't know this about us, but we feel like we're pretty weird. Around June, Barry and I look up and say, they're coming. Holidays are coming. And we seem to kind of emotionally somehow start to get ready early. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're joyful about that. Almost a slight heaviness. But the really, the prominent thing, I think, that we hold on to is we have this path that's so cut out for us. And we are like on the road to the holidays. And here comes Elul. Okay, we were ready for this. Now we're going to start, reflection. And I feel like as some of the beauty of Sukkot begins to come to an end. And I must admit, I feel this way at Havdalah too. I know you feel that way too. We can't wait for Friday. We just can't wait for Friday. I feel like I a little bit lose some direction here or there as Sukkot falls away and Simchas Torah and and all of that. So I'm really hanging on to this joy thing, and I think I'm hanging on to it, because I think that for me anyway, and I suspect for some of you, the world has felt a little less joyless lately. There's a lot going on in our broken world. For that, we know we have lots of work to do, lots of things to bring us together and study and mitzvah and worship and good deeds. We have all of that for sure, but it has felt a little daunting at times to be joyful. So trying to spread lots of that and keep it in mind for how over the next few months, as it gets a little darker and a little colder, we're going to do some of that. And so sometimes I rely on things that are really tangible to also elevate me just a little bit. So I've been looking at the screen and I can see my earrings are just really flashing. And I decided to put them on today because of most all the jewelry I have. These are about some of my most favorites. So this is I think the first present Barry ever gave me. And he surprised me, and we hadn't been together that long, with these beautiful earrings. And I couldn't part with them. And you can't wear earrings like this and be a yoga instructor. And so I put them in my purse. And I carried them around with me. And I had this private class, you remember Joanne? With Joanne. And she's a pinch older than me, and I was dating and things like that. And, we would always in the beginning, what's going on this week? And I said, he got me a present. He got me some earrings. And, of course, and she's like, you're carrying them in your purse. And I'm like, I know. So I gave myself a little kickstart as we go into Shabbat. And I don't know, so I just put things forth, and I'm always appreciative when people do this. Matter of fact, I had this talk this week with Lori on the phone, and she was telling me some of her stuff, and I was telling her some of my stuff. And this is that critical give and take with friends. And in particular, we were talking about vulnerabilities. And what a gift when you get to really, really share deeper than the skin, deeper than surface with friends. And that's good on that pathway to joy also. So I wore my long earrings, and I'm thinking of all of these wonderful blessings, and the sun is about to set. And I'm really happy that, I hate to use the word happy, let me rephrase it. I always tell my yoga students, do away with that. It's so marketable. Really content that I get a chance to be together with my community that we've created here, because you and us say, let's do this. Let's draw together during this season. And with you, Barry, and with a couple of the kids who have already signed on to say, well, they're rolling their eyes. Let me let you know. What are they doing now? Right? We embarrass people. So anyway.
It's been fun. And not just doing this for the last, I don't know how many weeks anymore, but it's been so much fun doing this with you, Debbie. And I'm sorry to see the earrings at the beginning because your hair was covering it up.
That might be true.
So it has been fun. And I agree in some ways. I miss the fall festivals. I also sometimes, I've grown older to look forward to the fall festivals, but I dread them, and we're told to dread them. And then we finish the Sukkot, and as much as we are celebrating the end of Sukkot and even these new other holidays, Shemini Atzeret and Simchas Torah, it's been fun for these last 3 weeks of just having joy. and seeing fruit and harvest and the bima with at Rosh Hashanah,
The white.
the white. Shemini Atzeret, in many congregations, the rabbis wear white. They wear a whole white robe, right? Because they do.
And we wear white.
And we wear white, so it's wear white. So I can't say that several times in a row, but I love this, Debbie. Thank you.
Want to hear a funny thing from last week?
Sure.
Okay, so on Facebook, Kara Mendelson was our guest last week, and wasn't she like? I want you to know I've gone back to listen to her words a few times. She was phenomenal. But anyway, my friend Jason had a post this week, and he said, guess what? In Colorado, I learned how to play pickleball. Hey, everybody, where can I go play pickleball? And Kara jumps on, and she's like, well, this park, and this park, and we're restriping this park, and this park, and this park. And just little things like that have come together that have just been phenomenal. Really wonderful.
I've looked forward to having all the guests on the show that we've had today, and I'm looking forward to seeing who we'll have in the future.
I know one of them.
Who could that be?
You know.
It could be Steve Waldman.
It could be.
Just another cousin.
Wait, I'll tell you something.
So one of my jobs on the Shabbos show is never to forget one thing. And I really only have one job on this show, okay? To listen and to ask one question. And so, of course, I always have to get reminded to ask a question. So, hey, Debbie, what the heck's going on? It's Shabbos. Is there a challah in our future?
Yes, I'm going to go get it. Okay, hold on.
Here she goes.
The deal is, I didn't get back from pickleball till late. So there's not a lot of rising that's happened yet. In 10 minutes, it's already rising like crazy. But seriously, it's not quite as big as usual. Oh, look, it's right under Barry. Isn't that cute? Okay, hold on. Here I come back. Etrog. Nothing like this, right?
The fruit smells like lemon.
It is so meaningful to us to begin Shabbat with your company. Thank you for your beautiful, wonderful company and energy. And thank you for coming on and allowing us to have this practice together of preparation for Shabbat, this amazing ritual. Thank you all so much for sharing this time with us. It's very meaningful. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom, Debbie.
Shabbat shalom. Bye, everyone. Now someone has to get up and turn off the button.
I guess it'll be me this time.
Oh, are
oh
you
no,
gonna
me,
do-
no, Debbie, you're better.
I'll do it.
And maybe just remind us, Chag Sameach.
Oh, yes. Chag Sameach. See you soon. Bye, Judy. Bye, Mindy.